The passage of the infrastructure bill gives new hope for help easing traffic headaches on I-75. Good evening, I'm Paula Toti.
And I'm Kyle Skeeb. So now with the Brent Spence Bridge fully reopened, traffic here in the tri-state is returning to normal, which of course means some very long delays, especially during rush hour.
Now Christian Hauser joins us live with plans to ease congestion until a companion bridge becomes a reality. Christian?
Well, Paul and Kyle, right now, actually, traffic on the Brent Spence Bridge behind me is doing pretty well. I actually did a little mini loop in the area just to check it out, and traffic moving very well in both directions. But for most of this year, it was partially closed. For about 6 weeks last year, it was completely closed. And also the Roebling Suspension Bridge has been closed for quite some time and will be well into next year. We've had a lot of people come up and ask, why isn't it easier to get around on I-275 and 471 when these situations happen? So I went to KYTC to ask them. Turns out it all comes down to capacity.
The major problem we have here now is that we're beyond capacity, and that is seen pretty much every day during morning and afternoon rush hours. The roads just can't possibly take the amount of volume of traffic that we have in this area.
That's Bob Yeager, the Chief District Engineer for KYTC District 6, which oversees northern Kentucky. After the closure last year and painting this year, many people have asked, why isn't I-71 routed over 275 and 471 to clear some of this traffic? Yeager says improvements have been made at that corridor. The Daniel Carter Beard Bridge is 4 lanes, but also has no shoulder. And a second lane was added to get from I-471 southbound to 275. But just like the I-75 corridor, this too is at capacity.
These are all piecemeal, and they'll only work so long until we finally hit that brick wall and have to really bite the bullet and do a major infrastructure program.
Even if the Brent Spence Companion Bridge project were funded today, it would still be years until it would open and some of the traffic congestion alleviated. So I asked Yeager, what else is being considered in the meantime?
We're looking at using shoulders for additional lanes in a short term. And again, we know that causes problems. Look at what we've done when we took the shoulders off the Brent Spence. When you have an incident, it becomes almost a major incident every time it happens because you can't pull off on a shoulder. There are things you can't do when you do that. So you sacrifice one thing for another.
It's still very early on, but what Yeager's saying is that during peak times, the shoulder could be opened up as another lane of traffic to get more vehicles through. He equates using the shoulder to having spare batteries in your house. You don't want to use them unless you absolutely have to, or else you might not have anything left during the next emergency. That's why new infrastructure, like the companion bridge, is so important.
We're not building for today, we're building for 20 years out. So we're not looking at this again, in 2040.
So again, this is all very preliminary, but it is something that the state is looking at to try and address this problem. And one thing that I think that we tend to forget is actually traffic has been down significantly due to the pandemic. So if you look back at 2019, traffic here going into Cincinnati on I-75, that can be backed up well into Boone County for, 10, 12 miles. So I think once we get back there, they'll start looking at this a little more seriously. But as soon as they update us on any possible testing of this, we'll make sure to let you know. For now, live in Covington, Christian Hauser, Local 12 News.
Affects so many of us. Thanks, Christian. Well, you can read more about the proposed companion to the Brent Spence on local12.com.